If you have any questions during all of this that you ask, okay? Find my channel on Stigermath if you're out sick for an extended period of time. And then also if you need to do this stuff. The homework is up already. Bless you, I think. Cough? Oh, okay. That's fine, clear. Zoe, don't be like shady on that. All right, so just let you know the homework is up for 4-1, 4-2. I'll make the homework for 4-3 later, okay? So that way you guys can actually do those. Please make sure you do the homework before we take the quiz on Friday. All right, if you don't do the quiz on Friday, that's the worst thing you guys can do, okay, is to not get ready for that quiz. All right, that's going to be a huge downer for you, especially as you're going through this process of making sure you guys can actually do everything and to not have any major issues, right? Any questions on that? Okay, let's get started then. All right, simple lessons today. We're not going to cover everything. We'll get through most of it. Now, we have graphed y equals mx plus b. We will continue to do that. So if you don't know what this difference between m is and b is, please let me know, okay? But that's what this lesson is all about, is making sure you guys can graph lines and then write an equation of a line given just the slope in one point. It's the beginning of the point slope form, where you guys have to rewrite these formulas and then write an equation in slope intercept form given 2 points, okay? All right, so let's begin. So we're going to talk a lot about, sometimes you're going to be given a table of values this year, especially on the homework, okay? And I want you to find the slope and the y-intercept to create what? Y equals mx plus b. Okay, that's your main goal. All right, so given this, what we do know, let's talk. All right, can you tell me what is given? We're trying to find two different things here. So what I mean by that is, you guys know we're trying to find y equals and x is given to us. We're trying to find the m, and you're trying to find the what? The b. If you guys look at this table, can you tell me what the y-intercept is?
Yes.
Yes, you should be able to. What is this point right here? 0, so that means are you going anywhere? But you're going what? Up 3. So we know right away that b equals 3. The same with the next one then, right? So that's 1 point. We know b over here is what? This b value is 4. And then that last one is a
-6.
Ooh, -6. Don't look at this and say, oh, it's 2. No, that's going over 2. That's actually what? That's the x-intercept. Do we care about the x-intercept at all? The answer is no. We never do unless I tell you to what? Solve and find the x-intercept. Otherwise, we never care about it. Okay? You never care about the x-intercept unless it's asked of you. Like, answer this. Okay, if you answer it for the, what is the x-intercept? What is the solution? What does it mean? All right, now the next piece is the slope. Now, for some of you, this is going to be relatively simple. Look at these slopes. Remember, it's rise over run. The rise always deals with what coordinate? X or Y? Y. So it's basically, it's the change in Y, right, over change in X, right? So change, you can put that if you want. All right, so what is my change in x? Now, do I have to do the slope formula that's up there? The y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Can you do that?
Yes.
Yes. Do you have to do that?
No.
Most of you should be able to do this in your brain, but what we're going to do right now. Okay? What is the change in x? We're going from -2 to -1 to 0 to 1 to 2. What are they doing every time? Adding 1. And then what's the change in y? Right? You guys can see that, right? You're going from, maybe not the negative. How do they go from 3 to 7, 7 to 11? It's a 4. And that's your what? So your equation is y equals 4x. Is that difficult? No, it's not. What you have to do is I want you to find the pieces. For some of you, the most difficult part is finding the pieces of the puzzle to go together. All right, the other one here, same thing. Remember, it's rise over run. All right, so once again, the run on this is what? It's over what? 1. And then what's the change in y this time? 7 to 4 to 1 to -2 to -5 is what? -3. So it's always y equals your slope, -3x, plus your y-intercept. Right? Now, am I asking or doing anything shady or tricky right now? No. Okay, it's the same thing. It's rise over run. Now, these are easy for you guys to figure out because the x right now is always what number, it seems like? It's always a 1. What happens if it's a 2 or a 3 or 4? Does that matter? No. Okay, figure it out and put the answer down and make it simpler on yourself. I show you the slope formula for when we, later on, we don't have a table of values like this. The slope formula is meant for when you have two values that are far away from each other, right? Not close to each other. And so understand if you see something like this, just go simpler. -6 to -3 to negative to, what is that number?
+3.
Yeah, so it's y equals 3x minus 6. Simple, right? Y's over run, that's your m. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, what I want you guys to do is do the next ones on your own, please. Write these. Find the y-intercept because that's the easiest piece to find. Then find your slope and create your equations as all right, ladies and gentlemen, you guys should all have the b values, right? The first one is what? 6. Then it's a -5, and it's a 8. Okay, those are simple. Now you need to find the slope, or the m, right? So it's rise and run. Same thing with these. Okay, all the runs look like they're what number?
1.
They're all a 1. Okay, now it's simple, but because I want you guys, we always try to start simple, right? So the change here, 4, 6, 8, 10, that would be a
2.
So you know it's y equals 2x plus 6. Change in the other one is what? -3? Or is it 3?
3.
So you know this is y equals, because that never changes, mx plus b. Okay, remember the number dictates the sign, so make sure you do that right, because I would hate for you guys to put a, now don't do this anymore. Okay, because that's technically what it is, but don't do that anymore. You'd want to do the rest. And then the other one is going to be 12, 10, 9, 8 would be a -2. Okay, so as you're going through this, mx plus, understand how to set these up. Okay, it's not difficult because this is basic, so that way you guys understand this piece here as we go through. So now we have to get to the form of y equals what? mx plus. The last couple of examples, what did we give you right off the gate? I gave you the y-intercept, right? That was the point. And then you had to find the slope. What happens if you don't have the y-intercept anymore? What are you supposed to do? Do you still have to find the y-intercept? Yes. Okay. So here's what I got to make sure you guys understand. If I am giving you a point and a slope, okay, what is this point right here? Now, I'm going to show you the basic way how to find this, and then later on at the end of this lesson, we're going to show you how to use the point slope form. But right now, I want you to find, what are we missing? So, for example, on this equation, what am I missing right now? I'm missing the y-intercept, the b. But do I know what everything else is? Yeah, okay, so just plug in the values. Plug and play. All right, what is my y value? It is a 3 equals. What is my slope? Okay, now I'm writing this right underneath of this so you guys can correlate these pieces together. And then it's going to be times x, which is what value? 4. But we don't know what. Does that make sense? Okay, is anybody lost? Okay, y, m, x, we don't know. So what are we going to solve for? We're going to try to get it to be b equals, right? Okay, so what would be my next step? Order of operations, right? Multiply these two numbers together. What's 3 over 2 times 4? If you guys don't know, it'd be what? It'd be 3 over 2 times 4 like this. So that would be what? 12 over 2, which is?
6.
So it's going to be 3 equals 6 plus b. Minus 6, minus 6, and what do we get? B equals? Negative 3. Does that make sense to everybody? Sorry for the not being able to see a little bit of it, Madison. All right, so do we know our slope now and our b value? So can I write a slope-intercept form equation? The answer is what? Yes. Okay, so the answer is going to be y equals m x, and then it's always what? Minus 3 plus b. Okay, one thing I noticed on the test, some of you guys are going to be y equals the slope and then the y-intercept, but you were forgetting, don't forget the x. It's y equals mx plus b. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Okay, if it doesn't, speak up now. All right, once again, y equals mx plus b. All right, what do we know? You know, this is the x. We know that's a y. So your answer here is going to be negative 7 equals your slope, negative 5 over 4 times the x value, which is negative 4. I'll put a 1 over it, plus b. All right, can you guys see? So when I write it vertically like this, I want you to be able to translate this and this. So when you look back at your notes, you can say, where the hell did you get these numbers? They're given to you. You just got to plug them in, okay? And that's one thing you guys got to realize as we go through now in high school is that we're going to give you a formula and we're going to give you numbers, and you got to take those numbers and put them where? Into the formula. Okay, so that way you guys can kind of start to understand how this works. All right, now we're going to find the b value. So we know it's going to be negative 7 equals, but we got to multiply this together. Negative and a negative is what? So what is this number? Negative 5 over 4 times negative 4 is what? Okay. 20 over 4 is? 5. Does everybody know how we got to 5? All right, remember, it would be, here's your setup. It would be negative 5 over 4 times negative 4 over 1. You can either do multiple ways. You can multiply these out like that, okay? Now the last step is to do what? Subtract 5. So what value is b? So it's y equals negative 5 over 4x minus 12. Now, I am going to show you that slope-intercept form in a bit here, where you can do the same process, same area and idea. But instead of going through all of these steps to finding the b, you plug everything into one equation, and then you just rewrite it. Okay, same with this last one here. So the slope of the value is, my y-coordinate is -1 equals your slope, and then my x plus b. One thing about these that you guys will see on these as we're beginning going through these on these homework as well, you'll see it. These multiply out to be -5. Is that the slope and the x are usually doing what? They're easily divisible, okay? So this is nice and easy and clean when you can divide the denominator and x value together. Does that make sense to you guys? So like here, this is clean, right? When I say clean, I mean this gets rid of this, and so what's left? What happens if I change that to a 7? Can you easily do cross multiplication if I had this x value as a 7? No, because then it'd be 35 over 2, which, can you actually solve that? No, you can't. Okay, so that's why I'm saying it's, when I say it's clean, it makes it, I get rid of the fractions right away. Add 5 to both sides, and then my b value is what?
4.
B equals 4, right? Because 5 minus 1. So my equation is y equals my slope Any questions? All right, ladies and gentlemen, work on the next 3. Try to see if you can do it on your own, okay? Just, you're trying to find what value? The b. Trying to find the y-intercept if it's not given to you. That's the main thing you're looking for here. All right, and if you're bored, fast forward. That's for the lesson. Remember, your main goal is to write the y equals mx plus b, because then you're going to be able to, as we go through this process this year, graph it. Okay, that's the main goal, is to graph it. Do you understand what we're doing here? Do you understand? So on these, it's y equals mx plus b. So what you have to do is just put in the values of it. You know that's x, you know that's y, that's m. We know what the b is. No, because that's what we're trying to find. So that's how we got y equals mx plus y. So that's what you could do, is set it up here and you try to find the that. Okay. So like this set up there and there. Okay, just set them all up first and solve them in. And then once you say that time makes sense. So it's y equals what? So the very last step, guys, is to solve the equation to tell me what it actually is. So that way, if you were to be asked to graph it, you could graph that value. Yeah, that's right. So do me a favor. Do this again, here and here. So just write the equations. Don't have to solve it yet. Just write it. Let's see if I can do that right. Remember, I want to make sure you guys can set these up. That's the most important things. Set up. This is what I want you guys to be able to do. All right. So on the setup, okay, please make sure you guys can do the following. Remember, it's y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx X plus B. Y equals M X plus B. If you get tired of me hearing me say that, I apologize, but ladies and gentlemen, that's how you're going to have to do this. It's understand when you're writing stuff down what it means. Okay, nobody in here is going to enter the business realm and write stuff down on a piece of paper and not know what it means. One of the main things I actually want to do before this semester is over with is give you a real world project where you would run like I did when I was in the military, run a snack bar. From a realistic standpoint, when I was in the military, we had a snack bar that basically broke even every month. Never made any money until I took it over. And when I took it over, we made close to $500 a month. The reason is I knew my customer base: electricians, avionics specialists, crew chiefs, which is what I was. I knew what they would want to buy. And then I would go in there and spend. I had a certain dollar amount. I'd walk in with cash. I would spend all my money. Okay, that is the B part of an equation, is your expenses. Now, is my equation simple as MX plus B? No, I actually had a lot of MXs. Where you buy soda, I'd buy pizza, I'd buy soft pretzels, I'd buy snacks. You buy all sorts of different items. So is there a lot of MXs? The answer is yes. But you understand what makes the most money as you go through. And so when I was in the military, electricians, by the way, live off of Mountain Dew. And I would go in to Sam's Club. I think we had Sam's Club, or it might have been Costco. And I would buy 24 packs. They used to be in flat. I'd buy 10 of those. I'd buy 240 cans of Mountain Dew, and they would last me a week and a half. But I made bank off of those, and I didn't make as much off of pizza. But it didn't matter. I knew my customer and how much I made. For you guys, I want you to understand. You may look at this and say, this is kind of stupid, but I'll try to see if we can correlate it into a business realm later on, okay? Because some of you in here, you don't know what you want to do for your career yet. But I can guarantee you, you're going to be using some type of math to figure out how to make money. If you don't ever want to make money in your life, then I'm fine with that. Just realize, unfortunately, unless we go on the barter system, okay, you guys are going to have to exchange goods with money. Everybody knows what the barter system is, right? Okay. If you don't know what that is, that's you give somebody something tangible that they would want, and they give you something else in return. Not money related, like products. So sweet. You make it a cool piece of art. I'll take that piece of art, and then instead I'll give you, I don't know, guitar lessons for free. Okay, sweet. That's barter. Right? Nobody's paying, you're exchanging. Okay. All right. So on this, you guys know this would be 8 times 5 would be 40, divided by 4 is 10. So you get B equals -7. So you'd be able to go Y equals M X plus B. Hopefully that's the answer you got. The other one here, that would be 7 equals, and then it's -8 times 3 is -24, divided by 4 is -6. Did everybody get that? Or am I doing my math wrong? So you get 13. So it's Y equals 3/4 X plus 13, right? And then the last one, same thing. I'll just write the equation down. It's Y equals -5 over 4X. And it's what? Plus uno. All right, so now, see, here's the caveats that are going to present it to you on the homework. Okay, you're going from the table to this. So now, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be asked to do the equations with just 2 points. What are we missing? Missing a couple things here, right? Which is why I believe on the paper, I gave you a couple things, but what are we missing? Do we have the b-intercept? Do we have the slope? We got nothing. So which one should we find first? Because we got to find them both. Which one's the easiest to find given 2 points?
Slope.
The slope. Find the slope, ladies and gentlemen. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Right? So does it matter which point we go first? No. All right, so this is where everything's going to come into play. 4 over 2 minus 1 over 3. Okay, so what is my slope? You guys do this, it'd be 3 over -1 or -3. Right? So there's my slope. So now we know what m equals. But do we still, what are we missing? So if I were to write an equation down here, so on the very bottom of your notes on that line, you can start by going this, y equals -3x, right? But what, do we know the last part? No. So we got to do what we just did. Does it matter which point we use? No, but always pick the one with either numbers that are the smallest or numbers that are the closest, okay? It makes it easier to do it. So like this one, I'm going to pick this point here. So remember, it's going to be y equals. So it's going to be 1 equals m, which is what? -3 times x plus b. So, ladies and gentlemen, what would you actually do on this? Multiply it together. 1 equals -9 plus b. Add 9 to both sides, and what do you get? Does that make sense? This weekend was a busy weekend for me. All right, for all of you who don't know, Thursday my garage door opener went out. Friday, I bought a new garage door opener. Saturday morning, I went and talked to a gentleman. Saturday morning, I went and talked to went to my stepson's basketball camp. I started talking, or like a practice, and I started talking to some of the parents there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I told him I can't lift the garage door." He's like, "Well, that doesn't sound like the door opener. That sounds like the springs." If anybody doesn't know what a garage door is, if you ever look next time you go in the garage, the 2 big springs usually that go right above the garage door. It helps lift them up, keeps the tension on there. The one on the left I had noticed before we went to practice had broken half. There were 2 pieces. She's like, "Oh yeah, you need that replaced." Called the gentleman, we replaced that. That was a lot of money. Then I put in the new garage door opener because once he got the garage fixed, he's like, "All right, let's see if it works." Push the button, and sure enough, the motor had fried, so I did have to replace it anyway. So I did that. Then installed a dryer later that afternoon that we had bought. And then I had to, basically on Friday night, I had to borrow my mom's truck to put it, their SUV to put it in the back. Okay. The second one would be, ladies and gentlemen, when we were doing it, would be on Sunday morning. I needed to go to Lowe's because now's the time to reseed your yard if anybody's not doing that. You know, where you mow it down real show and then you throw a bunch of seed on it and then pray to God that the birds don't eat all the seed. We bought a fridge. The only problem is when we went to Lowe's, 4 people lifted the fridge up onto the back of this truck that I had to rent. And then I strapped it down, and I realized before I left Lowe's, there's only me, my wife, and my maybe girlfriend, my daughter's boyfriend, Sean, big kid. So 4 men lifted it in. It'd be 2 men and my wife lifting it out. And I'm like, there's no way in hell. Because anybody knows it's easier to get it up than it is actually to get it down. So before I left Lowe's, I measured the tailgate. I had 8 feet. So I walked into Lowe's and I bought 2 pieces of plywood and 6, basically 2x4s. When I got home, I made myself a ramp. And that's not a lie. I'll take the picture tomorrow. To get the truck, to get this fridge off. We slowly pushed it off. I built the ramp 1 inch too high, so we had to tilt the fridge. But once we got it on, my daughter was at the bottom holding the ramp, and I slowly pushed it down and got it off the fridge without lifting it. What I'm trying to make sure you guys understand is when you see something like this, a problem, what do you have to do? Come up with a way to solve it. Okay? When I realized that 4 dudes were lifting up a giant fridge into the back of a truck, I'm like, oh shit. Oh crap. I got to get this off. How am I going to do it? You guys have to figure those things out. Okay? So don't look at a problem like this and say, I don't know how to do this, or try to figure it out. Think about what you've learned so far and get the answer. So far, we've learned the slope formula. So now do the same thing again, okay? Doesn't matter which one you do again. It does not. So it'd be 4 over 3, and you go minus, minus. And then, once again, y, so that'd be a plus 2 over 6. So what is my slope? 6 over negative 3, or a what? Negative 2. All right, now we're just missing, so you can go on the bottom and go y equals negative 2x, but what are we missing? Still missing the b. So that's when you would go in and do the rest, right? So I'll go 3, 4, because that's easier to do. It's a closer point, okay? So it's y equals mx plus b. So that's going to be what? Negative 6 plus b equals 4. Add 6. What is my b value again? Does everybody understand how that's working? If you don't, let me know in a second when I'm walking around, and raise your hand and I'll be happy to help. Same thing. Negative 2. So do the same. It doesn't matter which one. Negative 2 over negative 4. Find your b value. It's always minus, minus. But now we're going to change the signs, right? So this is going to be a 6 up here. So that would be a positive. That changes this to a positive. That'd be what? 4 over 1. So my m is 4. So now down here you could go start. Y equals m x. We just don't know the what. Once again, we don't know the b value. So figure it out. Okay, I'll use the negative 4, negative 2 because it's a smaller number. Does it matter which point you use? No. Okay, that's the key. All right, so it would be y, so it's going to be negative 2 equals m x plus b. So this would be negative 2 equals negative 16. Add 16 to both sides. What do you get? You guys see that? Hopefully you do. Okay, any questions? Thanks for joining us, Julian. All right. Oh, whoops, I put up there. Thanks. All right, so on here, ladies and gentlemen, what I want you to do is work on the next problems on your own, please. See how far we can get in today's lesson. And then this will be, and then we'll talk about real world kind of application. Okay. Now these are all on your notes. Okay. This is just one way of solving it. If you don't have 2 points, you go from there. Okay, so we're trying to create this intercept, which is what? Y equals mx plus b. So what we always need to find. You have either one of those. So we have to find the slope first. We're using the slope formula. So we end first. Okay, so let's make it. So this one, we can write it down. M equals 1. No, we get up and find the slope first. Yeah, so we do that first. Use it. So
plus negative 7 over negative 1. So negative and negative so put equals 7. So this one is you. Put your dividends in here. And then your slope, right? Which would be 7x. You know that as well. That's what we still put in here. Okay. So what do we know? We know the answer from seven. So that's the answer. So that's me. So that makes sense to you? So that's how you have to do is just find the pieces as you want.
It is.
I'll make it easier later. Anybody have any questions about this right now? Like the first one, I think most of you have got should be so this is fine. Over this is supposed to be one. So you plus your points. It's supposed to be 5. It should be 5 and 3. All right, so I see most of you are working pretty diligently on it. Some of you guys are stuck. Some of you are just staring off into the sun. You didn't want to write the other thing down. All right, so make sure, remember, as we're going through this, okay, that you guys know, right, that it's your end game is to go y equals mx plus b, right? So you know you can always start with y equals, but we don't know the m. So that's when you use the slope. So m is going to equal, and it doesn't matter which point, so I'll just go 5 over 3. Just make sure that it's easier if you guys would write one point at a time so you don't get them mixed up or you switch them around. Okay, I've seen that some of you switch them around or you pause and hesitate. So now you do the other point. Y would be plus 2 over 2, like that. So you know your y coordinate is actually what? 7 over 1 or 7. So m equals 7. So I can go here, 7x. Right? Now what are we looking for? It's the b value, right? So no, your b is going to be, doesn't matter which point I choose. No, so I'll do the first one. 5 equals m times x plus b. Right, so you know this would be 5 equals 21 plus b. You subtract 21 from both sides. And ladies and gentlemen, what number do you get? Negative 16, okay? So your answer should be 7x minus 16. All right, the same with the other one. I would go negative 4 over negative 3. We do the double minus. And then this changes it to a what? Plus 8 and a plus 2. So I'd get 4 over negative 1. So my slope is what? Negative 4. So I know down here I go y equals negative 4x. We just don't know the back end yet. Does this make sense as you're going through this? Okay. Think out the process and understand when something is given to you, how to solve it and what can you learn so far that you've used. Now, I do realize, unfortunately, some of you in here have learned nothing. So you have to ask yourself, how can I finally learn something? Okay. Figure out and remember how this works. Okay, it's 12 plus b, because it's negative 12. And then my last is what? Did you guys get that as your answer?
Yeah.
And the last one's the same way. Now this slope is easier, so I'll put the 3 in the on the front side. So it'd be 3 over negative 5 minus, and then that would be what? Plus 7 over 0. So it'd be 10 over negative 5, which would be a negative 2. So it's y equals negative 2x. And then once again, you got to find your b value. So I'll use the 0 because that's easy to plug in, right? So that would be, yes.
Someone's at the door.
Get out of here, you. All right, so it's the other Julian. So ladies and gentlemen, when you plug this in, it'd be negative 7 equals y. And then you do your x. Whoops, not equal, sorry. Plus b, right? These cancel out, so what does my b equal? So that's the easy one, right? Think about how this process works, okay? Now, this is a long way of doing this, okay? As we go through this, one thing I want to make sure you guys do is as we go through this, please make sure that you understand how to find the value of b and the value of m if nothing is given to you. Does that make sense to you? That's all we're focusing on today, finding those two values. All right, last thing we're going to do, okay, today is cover this little topic area, which would be like a real world individual for you guys, is putting together these equations. So it's a simple thing where I just want you to write the equation first, and then, ladies and gentlemen, plug in a number to find the answer, and that's it. Okay, so a construction crew is starting to lengthen the road. The road started with how many miles? 54. And each day they're going to add 3. So let L represent the total length of the road in miles. So it's going to be L equals. So that's the total length. Now, what is the rest of my equation? Okay, so it says, yes, it says let D represent the number of days. How many miles am I building each day? 3. And then we started with what? 54. Okay, that's your equation. That's it. Okay, the length of the road equals every day equals 54 miles plus every 3 miles that you add every day. Okay, basic construction. It's actually how it works. Okay, you start here and then they plan out, because for anybody that's in their own business, you have to be able to plan out ahead and say, okay, I can complete this work in X amount of time. Okay, so now it says here, what number do they want to find out? How long is the road after how many days? 39. So instead, now you just take this and you plug in what? Instead of D, it'd be 39 plus 54. And ladies and gentlemen, get yourself a handy dandy calculator. 117 equals what? 171. That's it. 171 miles. Right? Simple equations. All right, I'll set this last one up, and then you guys are up for the last ones. All right, so Bob is a software salesman. He has a base salary, and by the way, this is real for a salesman. He gets an additional $80 for every copy of English is Fun he sells. So now you got to set up the equation. And by the way, and Alex, I think you have to use these letters correctly. Okay, when it says the letters, you have to use the right letters. So it says let P represent the total paid. So P is your total pay. And then let N represent the number of copies. So ladies and gentlemen, what is the equation? It's P equals 80N
plus 1,900, right? Because if he sells nothing, how much does he make? 1,900. For every copy that he sells, he gets an extra what? $80. Okay, this is based on, this is what's called commission. They want to know if he sells 24 copies, how much money is he going to make? You guys should know how to do this, especially if you're going to enter this realm. Okay, so 80 times 24 is 1920 plus 1,900. So this gentleman here, he doubled his salary, $3,820. Any questions on that? Simple, right? It's the setup that you guys have to work on. Okay, work on those last two, and then that'll be it for today's lesson. All right, remember, this is how it'll work in the real world. You may not set up these equations, but ladies and gentlemen, you will do this concept, especially if you're going to want to be a contractor. You have to do things in a timeline. You have to give people a deadline. So I can do this, I can do that. You're also going to want to know if you work on commission, how much money you're going to make. Believe me. If you never care about that, then that's fine with me, but you should. All right, last thing. Put these in, down, we'll be done. All right, so. That first one should be $863. So start with $350, $27 a week. After 19 weeks, how much would you have saved up? All right, this is will you guys use this formula? No, but if you want to build a savings plan and you have an end game, guess what you have to do? This is the kind of operation you have to do. And the other one here is L equals 6, and then it's times 43, because you want to know how, whoa. That was a special 43. You want to know after so long how it would be? Plus 36, 258. I got 294. Any questions? All right, start the homework. We'll do page 3 tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, please make sure you get the homework done before we do the quiz. That's going to be on Friday. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Peace out.
Eight out.